Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to the Chord Sprint Planning meeting number 4. We're going to go through all the epics and plan each session. So um, let's start with admin GUI. Sorry, let me just present my screen. Show my screen.
That looks different.
There we go. Okay, you guys see my screen?
I'm not in there.
Okay. I think it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. So who's in charge of the admin GUI? No one? Great. Let's skip that for now then. Let's go to XOS monitoring analytics.
Take it then.
You want to do that yours at the end?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a great start to this planning session. Early Monday morning. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Fabric?
Yep.
You're going to do it at the end as well?
No. I'm ready. I was born ready. Okay. Right at the top, you see a bunch of what we call major stories. We expect Flavio to at least start with testing end-to-end the unicast routing flows. So far, he's been testing on one switch, but he now has the infrastructure to do the full fabric. So at least manually, he should be able to test an end-to-end routed flow. Other than that, he's also expected to make some progress on testing this double VLAN bridging story that we talked about, as well as multicast support. So actually, I'm going to move this up a little bit higher.
So the multicast support, what do you mean by that?
So it's basically going through all the different OFDPA group types just to ensure that we can actually send multicast packets to those groups. It's basically a bug finding mission.
Sure.
Yeah. Because we've found bugs in everything we've tried so far, and I won't be surprised if we find problems with multicast support as well.
Sure.
So it's a bug finding mission. Then my task is also to complete the about 25% of the OFDPA driver that's still left. Part of that work is to support link recovery, so changing groups essentially in OFDPA driver. And then Charles will be working on a couple of different things related to the new host location provider that we wanted to build.
It's already built, right?
No, it's in progress.
Okay.
It's in progress. And also refactoring how we look at configuration, because what we eventually want to do is to support runtime configuration changes. So our config management right now is very static. So Charles has a boatload of ideas that he wants to implement. So it's a good time to do that. Other than that, the other big story is that we also have all the equipment right now, so we want to put it together in the lab and build our infrastructure, one equivalent to the one that AT&T has, that Flavio is working on in Atlanta. So then we will both have the full fabric infrastructure in both places. So I'm supposed to work with Luca either today or tomorrow to get started on putting things into our.
Tomorrow the servers will arrive in principle.
Okay.
Maybe
Yeah.
Do that all together.
Yeah, sounds good to me. That's pretty much it. At the same time, Flavio is working on whatever testing he's doing. He's moving it to automated tests using OF test. So that's about it.
Cool. So you're 3 people?
Yeah, 3 people and
34. That's fine, I guess. For 4 weeks.
For 4 weeks with 1 short week, I think it's all right.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Saurabh.
Yes.
Hey, this is George. By the way, we have under David's login, we have David, Ranjan, and myself here. So with regards to the physical setup, the test setup, can you share, or can we have visibility into how you are setting it up specifically? Because we are also in the phase of receiving the equipment and setting up probably the next 4 weeks. So it may make sense to align the setup in as much as possible.
Well, yeah, I mean, right now we're just going with the 2 leaves and 2 spines arrangement. When we get a couple of more pieces of hardware, then we will work on having redundant leaves. So it's just a 2-rack setup right now with a single top of rack and the 2 spines, which is enough for now.
Okay.
So I will share details over the.
Oh, that's enough. That's enough. I mean, I think that the interesting thing will be, I mean, I know that you desperately want to verify the fabric setup, but I also know that in the initial cord field trial, it's unlikely that we need more servers than a single rack can contain. So I'm wondering whether it would make more sense to just have 2 spine with 1 rack. I know it's not as interesting for the fabric, but that may be more real what we need to do in the field trial. And of course, the other part is how we wire in the PMC open GPON boxes. But that's going to be interesting once we start receiving those, which is probably like January, February.
Yeah.
Okay, that's enough for now.
Yeah, we'll see. There's a lot of unknowns there.
Yep.
Okay, so let's move on to the XOS core devel.
Yeah, I think Larry's working on and Andy's working on joining, so they should be incoming very soon. So we may want to hold off talking until they get here.
Okay, so that's another one we have to table for now. What about integrate services into XOS?
So we're still working on the ONOS as a service. I think Andy is going to work on that. That's a getting multiple ONOS apps running in a single ONOS. I think is where that was at.
Okay.
But again, they may have more to say about that when Andy gets on.
All right. Do you know why they can't get on yet?
I don't know. I just got on a chat up. Be there in a minute. So.
Okay. All right. I'm guessing integration of XOS and eComp is still something we're gonna push off for now.
Yeah, I don't think there's any expectation to start that now.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding or our understanding is that eComp integration was pushed out from the focus for now.
Yeah. We might even consider killing this epic for now. But whatever. Well, I'll just leave it there for now. All right. So OLT. We're going to implement the IGMP snooping application as well as the PIM application for Cord. There's a few new tasks, which is specify the ether type of the outer VLAN. The OLT should respect whatever the push VLAN action says. It doesn't right now, but I got confirmation that that's what they'll implement for the next release. Removing a port from a group still has no effect. That's something that's been reported to them. They're going to fix that in the next release. Now that we're building out the infrastructure, we can start hopefully integrating the OLT with the fabric using pseudowires. Do you think this is something we can do?
No, we're not ready for that.
Ready for that?
No, because since the decision was taken to keep the VCPE mostly within the same rack, it's the double VLAN bridging support that has taken priority over the pseudowire stuff.
So yes, for the market trial, the VCPs are, well, everything's going to be in the same rack anyway. But like, so they're all going to be under the same leaf for a trial. So you're suggesting we just table this for now?
Just double VLAN bridging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That puts a requirement on XOS to make sure that it spawns the VCP under the same leaf as the OLTs.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to keep that in mind. Okay, let's table this for now, and we can pull in something else instead. Let's go with this. Let's go with. Srikant, would you want to start incorporating some OLT analytics?
Sure.
Because I mean, I have a story for that, so
We can work on that.
okay, I'll put that story in. So that's about 14 story points spread over. So PMC is probably going to pick up about 6 story points, and the remaining story points will be here on the map. So seems reasonable. There'll probably be other things that'll come up during the sprint for the OFT anyway. Any questions? Nope. Okay. So let's move on to virtualization. So we're going to start implementing the actual OVS pipeline that we're going to use for service chaining. So some work has already started in that direction, but it was kind of blocked on the interface with XOS and getting the actual service graph from XOS so that we can program the data plane. So I made a story for that. That story is largely a placeholder for a conversation that Larry, Scott, Hinson, and I were going to have this afternoon about that particular interface and how we're going to achieve it. So it's largely a placeholder, so it's going to get blown up into several stories probably, but we'll see. So, as you may or may not be aware, the Cord VTN app has moved to the Sona backend. So it uses the Sona project as its backend rather than the other one, the VTN resource stuff. And then there are a few other bugs that are kind of in process as well. So that's all good. It's about 17 story points for the 4-week sprint, split over 2 or 3 people. I think it's reasonable. Okay. Upgrade Open Cloud. Upgrade Open Cloud. Who's behind that? Oh, Larry. Is Larry on?
Yeah, Larry and Andy just joined.
Okay, cool. Well, how about this? Let me finish the list here, and then we'll come back to the ones we missed for you.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yep, we're working on those. We're adding a couple more here too. You can see 2 there. We're going to add one. We're going to work on deploying Exos in our lab, so on bare metal. Get it out. Gungeon's actually in the process of adding that one right now. We put it actually as an ONOS Jira. We got to move it over to Core Jira. I did that. We're also going to be starting an implementation of Kubernetes under Exos to be the container management, to be an alternate implementation. And we're going to be looking at that this sprint. We have a couple other things. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we have a number of other items that we just discussed a few minutes before the meeting with the team here that we will undertake, and we would like to, make it visible that we are working on these. I'm not really sure which epic some of these belong to. We are open to your feedback and coaching on that. We can go through it like 4 or 5 items that didn't find an epic yet, and they have not. I haven't entered this into Jira yet, so I don't know that this is the right time to cover those quickly.
No, go ahead. Yeah, this is
okay. Yeah. So one thing we are going to do that it doesn't show up on the list yet is we have 2 additional developers ramping up, and it would be nice to assign some tickets to them so that would allow them to have a sort of a context in which they can do the onboarding more quickly.
Okay.
I think that if these are ONOS tickets, that would be probably the easiest or the best for them. So it doesn't have to be decided right away, but it would be nice to assign something that you guys are aware of as issues, and then these guys can jump in and start making sense quick.
On ONOS, you mean?
I think that would be more ONOS, but it could be related to the core use case. That would be the sweet spot.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. The next one is so I've been working with, as you have, some of you have seen, have been working with Kartik on developing a DPDK package-based Cord sort of test simulator or traffic simulator that can simulate load at mass. So we can saturate 10 gig or even up to 20 gig. But we still need some more work to do in order to make this to be so basically make the load, the traffic that it generates, as close to the use case as possible. But the focus here is really on the volume of the load that this can generate, of course. So we would like to. I think it's feasible to complete this in this cycle, and the daily variables would be a mix of instructions, patches, and Lua scripts to be able to generate code load.
Okay.
So I don't know whether this would go into which epic.
So you feel free to create an epic if you need one.
Well, I think the test, the use case testing. Do we have one here? Basically, the use case testing is definitely something that will require significant work, and we'll have many items in it. So it probably is a good candidate for an epic. Okay, we will create one for that if you guys are okay with that.
It's fine.
The next thing that can go into the same epic then is to start developing use case test scenario, just documentation, basically create a test spec. And I would be happy to take a first pass on that, and then it's ultimately has to be a joint effort in terms of reviewing it and making sure it's complete, and then start implementing those tests. I don't think is Bill in the room on your side, Ollie?
He's not in the room physically. He might be on the call.
Okay. I haven't seen him, but I haven't heard him yet. But Bill started to ask the same question, so I'm happy to collaborate with Bill on that.
Okay.
And
so
also, go ahead.
What are you using to build your test framework or your test?
Well, this will be really just outlining like what are the scenarios and what are the goals and what are the what we want to achieve with the testing. What should be the coverage of the testing? Just to have a very high level rough list of these are the things you need to test.
Okay. Okay.
So that's too independent. In terms of automating the test, I'm quite open. We have many different systems here. If you guys have already something in mind, we can pick up something. That's no problem.
Packet generator, what are you're using DPDK?
So for that, very good question. So this is what I have in mind. And again, if you guys have a better idea, let's discuss it. DPDK package gen would be focusing on the scale testing and making sure that throughput-wise and performance-wise we can characterize and we can fix as needed the system. But it's not necessarily fine-grained enough for doing functional tests. So what I was thinking is that we should basically compensate or augment or use a mix. Use basically a DPDK package gen to generate a background load that would load the system, and then have a handwritten we could call it simulator that would simulate basically an end user behavior towards the system. The idea here would be that we don't need to use, if you want to simulate a handful or hundreds or thousands of end users doing channel surfing and joining the system and leaving the system and any other behavior that we need to test. Obviously here in our labs and probably in your labs, we cannot afford to have this many OLTs. So if we create a reference point in the physical solution, we could create a simulator that could be written in any lightweight language that could functionally, not necessarily in terms of performance, but functionally simulate that reference point from basically from the outside, so that we can test all the different scenarios that we have to be able to do. Service onboarding, channel changes, internet access, upstream, downstream. This could be written in Python or anything that can emit packets and receive packets. I would be open to any language if somebody has a better suggestion. There are probably some good libraries that can be used to not to start from scratch, and that would be yet another item. So in terms of the testing, we have the DPDK package gen. We have an endpoint simulator as something that we'd like to kick off in this cycle, and the third is just to write a high-level sort of laundry list of test scenarios that we would like to ultimately cover in the next few months.
Okay. All right. We should probably start a. So this is good stuff. We should probably start a discussion on about this on the mailing list. Try to crowdsource some testing scenarios that we need.
Okay.
And
I can kick that off with an email, and then
yeah, and then we can start thinking of how to where are the relevant what would be the point of entry for each scenario, or if we can do end-to-end testing as well.
yes, exactly.
Okay. But yeah, if you could create a story, well, I think you said you would, right?
Yes, I'm happy to do that. What we are going to do it for, I think, again. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it for now.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Ollie, can you hear me?
Yes.
Ah, great. I finally figured out how to get on.
Is this Bill?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Where,
Built from another planet.
where are you speaking from? I can't see you on the Hangout, but anyway. Sure. Hi, Bill. Ghost Bill.
It's coming from the house. Look behind you.
Don't open that door. I know. Monday fun time. Monday fun day. All right. So it's Jono V. Rotter.
Yeah. so the first story there is just some changes I have to make to the kind of the way we initiate and wire together the writing components with inside ONOS. I kind of discovered that when I started doing the FPM work last sprint that we need to do this as a prerequisite. So I need to finish that off, and then just finish implementing the FPM component that will decode the messages from Quagga and sort of send them into the writing pipeline. There's a documentation task that I need to do. And then also I put a story there about setting up Quagga to talk with the setup that Don has at the Foundry, because it sounds like that's pretty much ready for us to get started with. And we may need to bring the Happiest Minds guys in there and get them working on that.
You mean Tech Mahindra?
Sorry, yeah, that's right. Tech Mahindra.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, so that's 16 story points. Do you feel like you're okay there, or you need some help?
Yeah, I mean it's 4 weeks, right? And also some of these are probably some of these tasks have been started, so
Yeah. Okay.
not all of those have to be done.
Well, shout if you need help.
Okay, cool.
All right, let's move on to Cloud Lab. Andy.
Okay, so right, so the first story, I guess maybe there's some other discussions that need to happen before we're ready to integrate VTN with our development environment on Cloud Lab. I think there's one later this afternoon, which I plan to be involved in. But I guess the idea of that story was as soon as we have those design issues resolved and are ready to go, then I'll try to get things working on Cloud Lab.
Okay.
As far as story points for that, I really don't have a good idea of what's involved for that, but I just, guess.
It seems like it's also kind of like it overlaps with another issue that's in another epic.
Yeah, right.
It's fine. I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Okay. The other story is on the Cloud Lab environment. The end-to-end data path is configured correctly, it seems, more or less. It's passing packets, but performance seems kind of bad. There's maybe some small issues that need to get ironed out. So the goal here is to be able to reproduce the demo that we did at ONS on Cloud Lab and have good performance. I guess we might not have the CDN for that, but the other pieces should be there.
Okay.
Will that will you get meaningful performance out of that? Performance data out of that? Will that help you understand profiling
Well, it's
Obviously, you're emulating the hardware, but
right. Well, so actually, probably another another story that we should put in here is to integrate Scott's containers on bare metal with the development environment set up. So if we have the containers on bare metal, then I guess you'll get, you could do some performance testing on that part of the setup. But I wouldn't expect that you'll get meaningful numbers out of this setup. It's like virtual networks inside virtual networks, and
this is all functionality.
yeah, it's more just to have a place where we can go and say, look, all of these pieces are working together. If you want to understand the configuration, you can kind of see it working.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
But I'll add another story about
the containers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That has nothing. What is this? The XOS core develop COSAD?
I guess that's just a placeholder for the next release of XOS, but there's nothing there right now.
All right. All right.
Anything, Larry, that should go there?
Well, for this next sprint, probably not.
Okay.
I mean, there are issues of high availability. There's issues of we're trying to factor off into their own container subpieces. There's a little bit of modeling work, but none of it that would be in this sprint.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go back to monitoring and analytics.
Yeah. So this sprint we have added.
Come close.
Yeah, in this sprint we have added the stories to prototype the PubSub interface for the Ceilometer framework. So right now we were discussing with the Ceilometer community for a better approach, but in the meantime we will prototype with a centralized common module based approach. For that we have given 5 points. Raghu from Ericsson is going to work on that. And meanwhile, I wanted to explore the options for open source SFlow collectors that we can integrate into the monitoring framework. That is one story.
Do you have? I mean, that SFlow collector, getting an SFlow collector is a good idea, but the switches themselves don't support SFlow as of now.
So the OVS
supports SFlow.
Yes.
Yes. That's the only. But the bare metal switches won't.
Correct. That will come as a different. So this is in the platform. If we can have that framework ready, then we can enhance the switches to write the SFlow agents later on.
So in my experience, SFlow collectors are very. The open source ones are very simple.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do a lot of work on top of them to get. Other than getting like the standard SFlow data, you do a lot of work to get any other meaningful data.
Okay, so that's why it's just an exploration and see what kind of challenges we have there. And we also wanted, now the card setup has ONOS running in multiple containers. We wanted to integrate Ceilometer with the ONOS. There are a few REST APIs missing from the ONOS, which we wanted to implement as one of the story. And then have a Ceilometer polling agent that periodically poll these multiple ONOS instances in the card setup and export those meters.
Okay.
So those are the.
You want a polling mechanism, or you want
today, at least Ceilometer for SDN meters, it has the polling-based framework already defined for Open Daylight and Open Contrail. We'll just extend that for ONOS, but eventually we might go in with the notification-based approach. So I also need to see how we can upstream this ONOS plugin code that we add to Ceilometer to back to the OpenStack code base. I don't know what is the process for that, and we need to figure it out. And also we wanted to initiate some design discussions for the ONOS mirroring application that one more Ericsson resource is currently doing some experimentation in that.
Okay.
Yeah, these are the 21 points that we are planning to take.
You're 2 or 3 engineers, right?
Yeah, you can take 2.5. Then 2 and an additional one.
That's good. For 4 weeks, that sounds good. Okay, thanks, Vikas. Let's go to here to Exos Core Devel Burwell. Hello? Andy?
Sorry, we were on mute.
Sorry.
So currently we don't have anything in the sprint.
Did you want to pull anything in?
Well, is there another epic where the VTN work would go?
So the VTN work has gone into 2 places. It's gone under overlay, which I just like generically named interface to XOS, and it'll this afternoon it'll get broken. I'm assuming it'll get broken up into other stories, like a multitude of other stories. So and there's another one just kind of in the cloud lab.
That's what you just discussed
Yeah,
a minute
that's
ago.
what.
Yeah, okay, so everything related to XOS meets VTN, I think, is the highest priority. However that breaks out later on is fine. I don't think there needs to be anything else from the...
Okay, so let's
Yeah, so the Burwell core development and the COZAD one are past and future, so...
Sure. So let's table that for now and then populate it this afternoon.
I mean, some of those are done.
Which of these tasks here?
Well, only 109.
109 is done.
Yeah, but that's been checked in for some time.
Yeah, some of these may be things that belong in the COZAD epic too, or the COZAD.
I'll let you guys.
Yeah, we should close out anything Burwell and move these to COZAD, but we can do that later.
Okay, and so this afternoon we'll populate the XOS meets VTN stories.
Good.
Okay. I think. Do you want to revisit these here?
So ONOS as a service, we still have that item about running multiple apps in the same ONOS. I don't know if we're planning on working on that or not.
What do you mean by running multiple apps inside the same ONOS?
Right now we're running 1 app per ONOS installation.
Okay.
I think, I think Andy knows more on this than I, but I think we were having issues managing multiple switches with the same ONOS.
Yeah, I don't remember what the issue was, but yeah.
Did you mean managing a switch from multiple ONOSes?
No, the opposite. So I want to run the virtual BNG app and the OLT app on the same ONOS and have them controlling different switches.
Yeah. So there may have been a assumption built into the application for that because the 2 apps weren't expected to run on the same ONOS because there's the kind of the fabric ONOS and the OLT ONOS or the access ONOS, and so they weren't expected to run on the same ONOS. But I mean, regardless, it should be feasible.
Okay. Well, it's fine if the switches are broken into completely partitioned sets. Then having an ONOS for each set is fine.
Yeah.
In the case where they are running on the same set of switches, which may now be the case with the VTN, the overlay.
No.
Is it still distinct? So now we're running we partition switches into 3 sets?
No. So we've got 2 sets we've got 2 ONOS clusters. The one controls the fabric. The other one controls the OVSs at the edge and the OLT.
Okay, so that does say that the VTN service and VTN and Volt should run on the same ONOS.
Right. Yes.
And maybe the answer is we save that until we have both of them running on their own next time.
Both of them running on their own.
Let's do the integration. Let's get VTN integrated and then worry about unifying them.
Yes. I mean, the thing is, they won't run in the same. They're 2 different apps, right? Like, so there's a VOLT app and the VTN app, and they're 2 different apps. There's no reason for putting them together.
No. We want to run them on the same ONOS.
Yeah, that's fine. That's already the case.
Well, except it's.
But yeah, this should all be pretty simple to do because each app talks to different devices. So if it's not working right now today, it should be a pretty simple fix to get it to work.
Well, then let's put it in the sprint. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, it's going to be. That's not really an issue. I think the only reason why you're running into a problem is because the VBNG app and the VOLT app they have built-in assumptions that they ran on different ONOS instances. So it was kind of like and it dated from the demo. So I think it's a little detail, like John said.
Well, so on the virtual router app, we're now bringing in different hardware for that to run on, right?
Yes. Yep.
So that will be yet a third set of switches, if you will, being managed by a third ONOS installation.
Well, so that remains to be unclear whether it'll be like I don't think it'll be another ONOS installation. It'll be the same fabric ONOS, but whether there's a specific device or it'll be a fabric device, we still have to figure that out.
Okay, so we can imagine vRouter and the segment routing as two apps running on that other ONOS.
Yes, that's currently the plan. Yes.
All right, thank you.
I think we covered everything. Did I miss something?
So, Larry, do we want to bring in any of the CDN items as we're expecting that OpenCloud will become live during this sprint, and I will spend a day or two installing HyperCache back on it?
That just accounting for the time, yes.
So should I pull CDN as a service in?
That's the one I was thinking.
Okay. Do you have an estimate for that one?
Whatever amounts to 2 days worth of points.
So what is that? 3? Is that 2 days or 5?
5 is 1 week.
I have 3. There we go. Okay. All right. Cool. Anything else?
Yes, Ali, I have a question.
Yes. Who's speaking?
This is Bill.
Oh. Wow.
So back to what Jolt was talking about with the testing. I guess what I'm wondering is if they're going to be creating all of the system tests that are needed for the trial, and there's a discussion happening on, well, and David brought it up with the Kubernetes. So I just want to make sure that we cover everything for both XOS and Kubernetes in a system deployment model, and I just want to get confirmation that that's the plan.
Yeah, that's the plan. And Larry, I would, before I send out any email to describe the approach, I would really prefer we can have a one-on-one chat, what your thought process is and what ours is, and then make sure that we see things in a sort of eye to eye, which I think we do, but let's just make sure.
Sure, absolutely.
Because there are some, you're right. There are different ways of looking at this. One can test the, something very close to how the proof of concept works. We can make a little bit of a leap forward and test something like that. But we really want to make sure that we have coverage on what is coming in the Tom Anschutz field trial, which is sort of the primary short-term focus. We do have ambitions to also have test coverage for some of the things that may come after in terms of what the labs are doing, AT&T labs are doing. But we definitely want to cover the pure core use case with XOS.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
And also, Cord 144, that kind of overlaps with the whole XOS meets VTM story.
Yeah, definitely. I think that one is an old issue from before you and Jono came out to Princeton.
Okay, let me just pull that in for now, and then we can. We've currently have 3 stories for XOS meets VTM. so let's all leave them there for now. Okay. This afternoon, we'll chat, we'll write stories, and we'll delete these stories and replace them with other meaningful stuff.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, cool. And have I missed anything from any epic? I take that as a no. Everyone's happy. Wonderful. So with that, I think we're done. As always, I recommend you all to have conversations on the mailing list and advertise as much as possible what you're doing. All right? Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.